That ball covered 56 yards in the air. There's Wesley who gets beat. The game is tied. Woods, he got beat as well. Ball at the 21-yard line. First down for Kansas City. Crowd roaring again after that last play. And now Priest Holmes will try to still them a little bit, taking it to the 29-yard line where he's tackled by Gary Baxter.
That's one thing I think that the Chiefs have to get to now is take a little time off this clock, let their defense rest. Their defense is really playing pretty well. Let their defense rest, get a first down or two here, you know, and then keep them fresh, because it's not a real good defense, but you want to keep them as fresh as you can.
Holmes, who last week became Kansas City's all-time leading rusher, eclipsing the mark held by Christian Okoye, the Nigerian nightmare. Interesting story with Holmes. I mean, here's a kid who goes to Texas because of a knee injury. He wasn't drafted. Baltimore gets him. Played pretty well here, but they had Jamal Lewis, and then they let him go. He winds up in Kansas City and winds up as the leading career rusher for the franchise.
Yeah, and last year, remember when we saw him in the preseason, and he was coming off that hip injury the year before? I didn't think he'd be able to play.
A lot of people didn't. And that pass is caught by Chris Horn. Horn beats Baxter and is able to reel it in at about the 29-yard line, but there's a flag down for holding.
62 of the offense. 2-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's the center, Casey Wigman.
Chris Horn did exactly what he had to do. He got man-to-man on Gary Baxter out there. Trent Green did exactly what he had to do, and the offensive line didn't. They got caught holding. Right there. See, it was Casey Wigman. See, he got beat, and his guy starts to the outside, and then he went and tackled him. Chris Horn makes a good move. It was kind of a stop and go where he kind of stuttered, got Baxter to come up, and then ran right by him.
Wasted play. 1st and 20 now from the 22. And Holmes. But you could feel Lewis. I mean, you see him and you feel him. He's hard to miss, I guess, if you're running the football.
Well, and they didn't block him. I mean, that was the thing. Dick Vermeil says we always have to have a center or a guard on him. And when you get no one on him, this is what's going to happen. You know, his coach is Mike Singletary, and he said, you know, that he's been a good player. He wants to be the best middle linebacker that ever played. And he said he's learning so much from Mike Singletary.
And as you said before, he's tough to run away from. You can run right at him. If you run away, he's going to hunt you down. 2nd down and 20 from the 22-yard line. Flag again. Green gets hit as he throws to Richardson. Penalty at the snap.
You know, one of the things I was asking Ray Lewis the other day, what he learned from Mike Singletary. And
illegal shift. Offense number 82. Two-man moving and did not get sacked. A 5-yard penalty. Correction. They decline that penalty. It'll be 3rd down.
And there's Mike Singletary right there, and he said he learned how to key. You know, that, remember Singletary, the way he'd always be looking through, and you know what you look at. And he said you really look at nothing. You feel the middle 3 guys and just to the outside shoulder of the back. So he said you don't look at anything, but you see everything. And your first move is what he calls a pop. You know, he just moves both feet, just pops both feet.
You can see Ray Lewis was bloody. His nose is bloody. It's 3rd and 16, and the catch is made by Gonzalez, who was able to spin around and pick up the first down. He was about 2 yards shy when he hauled it in, and then picks up the extra 4 to move the chains. Great play by Gonzalez, and you can tell how exorcised Billick is.
Right, because you know it's coming. You know, you say the tight end, any 3rd down play, you have to get on Gonzalez. There's Ray Lewis. He should have closed earlier. Ed Reed, who has a man-to-man, has to come up there. Now you have to make the tackle. I mean, if the guy catches the ball in front of you and it's 3rd and long, he may catch it, but then you have to tackle him, not let him get a first down.
18 yards on the 3rd down and 16. Green buys time with the fake. Pulls one to the outside. That's caught at the 44-yard line. Dante Hall makes his first catch of the night, and Hall, who would normally be a receiver who would come in special situations, has to play more tonight because of the injuries at the wideout spots. Here's Michelle.
You guys were talking about Mike Singletary, and I spoke with him too about Ray Lewis, and he said what makes Ray unique is a lot of players will come to the sideline after they're on the field and know what's happening to them. But when Ray Lewis comes to the sideline, he can articulate to the coaches and all the other players what's happening all over the field, and that's a unique asset for the coaches. And as you said, Ray wants to be great, and Singletary said he has about 10 pounds left to go to be great.
1st and 10. Holmes. You know, John, I think about, you know, what Michelle is saying, and I've always admired the athletes in sports who do know what everybody else is doing. It's almost like, you know, a catcher in baseball, as the whole field in front of him knows what everybody's doing. But in every sport, you can say there's always a guy who knows what everybody's supposed to be doing.
Every great one does. I mean, you know, you can't know your job if you don't know everyone's job. And I remember that I had Art Shell, and he was the best at it. Art Shell was my left tackle. He not only knew what he did, he knew what the whole offensive line did. He knew the receivers, he knew what everyone did on every play.
2nd and 5, ball to the 30-yard line. Holmes picks up the first down. Ray Lewis mic'd up again.
It's gonna take 2 of y'all. It's gonna take 2 of y'all. It's gonna take 2 of y'all.
Those two are Willie Rofe and Tony Richardson. Richardson said, we're going to be there all night.
Still bleeding is Lewis. First down from the 30-yard line. Green again buying time off that fake, and then throws, and the pass is incomplete. Good coverage deep. Chris Horn, the intended receiver.
I think he had Tony Gonzalez. In fact, I was watching Chris Horn and Tony Gonzalez, and Horn was going into the post. Gonzalez was going up the sideline. I thought he was going to throw to Tony Gonzalez because I thought he was wide open. But we see one thing up here. Trent Green sees another one down there. But let's see. Here's Tony Gonzalez right here. Yeah, he was wide open. You could have thrown that ball in the end zone there.
2nd down and 10. Ball at the 30-yard line. Again, that play action buying a lot of time for him, and that's caught by Dante Hall. That'll be a first down inside the 20. So Kansas City back in the red zone, tackled by Ed Reed. And that's Scott Fujita, the Kansas City linebacker, who goes back to the locker room.
That was an interesting pass there. It was just a two-man pattern, and that was one of the things Dick Vermeil was telling me down the field before the game, that to get the ball to the wide receivers, they want to first run play-action pass. And I think that then they can have an advantage. That and this bunch right here. So they want to do a lot of that bunch look tonight.
And run away from the bunch with Holmes. Priest gets it to the 12-yard line. Ray Lewis is there to make the tackle with less than 5.5 to go in the opening half.
You know what impresses me about this drive, Al, is they had the bad luck. They make a long completion, and there's a holding on Wigman in the play, and you get set back, and most teams, you know, they kind of just give up and they run a draw or something. But these guys stayed with it, and they fought themselves out of a hole. And these are the types of things I think that an 0-3 team has to do to get out of their spin.
And that's coming off giving up a touchdown and picking up an 18-yard gain on the 3rd and 16. But this is Brian Waters for the false start.
54, the offense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Fifth penalty to be assessed against Kansas City.
One thing Dick Vermeil said and really didn't have to say is that his team's not going to quit, and he's not going to quit either. And I don't think anyone that knew either his team or Dick Vermeil ever thought that they would.
No. 2nd down and 9. The ball at the 17-yard line. Green to the end zone, too high. Intended for Chris Horn running a post, and Gary Baxter is there for the coverage.
Chris Horn is an interesting guy, isn't he? I think that any professional football league that there is or has been, Chris Horn has played in. You talk about persistence. I mean, he's been in leagues and gone to schools I never even heard of.
Europe, yeah, went to Rocky Mountain. Was on the practice squad.
Played in the Arena League. Played in Europe.
Some other league up in an indoor league up in the Montana area. This is Green. Play breaks down, and Green's going to pick up the first down and really take a shot at the 6-yard line. Remember, you're fair game unless you slide, and that's Will Demps whacking him, but Green gets up without even a grimace.
I'll tell you, Trent Green is a tough guy, and let's watch from Skycam, and you'll see what he sees. He has to step up in the pocket. There's no one to throw to. He feels pressure from the left. Now that clock that the quarterback has to have in his head goes off, and he says, I have to get the heck out of here. Yeah, that's about 13 plays on this drive, I think.
Second rushing first down of the season for Green. He gives the ball to Holmes, and Priest hurdles into the end zone. And so Holmes, a former Raven, gives KC the lead again. And what a very impressive drive for a team that gives up a 7-point lead on a trick play and then comes back, overcomes a 3rd and 16, overcomes penalties, and they have the lead again.
That's his offensive line. See how they all move in unison? This is just a zone play, a lead by the fullback, and Priest Holmes just gets right in there behind him. 14 plays on that drive, 8 runs and 6 passes.
Good balance. It took more than half the quarter, an 8-minute drive for them. 8:08 is the total time on the drive. And with 3:42 to the half, it's Kansas City up 17-10 over the Baltimore Ravens.
For the thrills and spills of motorsports all season long is ESPN.
Hello there from Derek Ray and Tommy Smith here in the ESPN SoccerNet Press Pass studio. We always enjoy dipping into the mailbag. Remember the website espnsoccernet.com and look for the Press Pass link. And our first question this week comes from Tharaka in Australia. Here it is, Tommy. Will Real Madrid win the Champions League, and do they need a new coach?
Well, I certainly feel that Real Madrid are back on the right path. Maybe not fully back, but I think they have a good shot at winning the Champions League. I don't think there's anything wrong with the coach to just get rid of one.
OK, let's move on to question 2. This one comes from Simeone in Zambia. Do you think that Arsenal will go unbeaten this season in the Premiership? And how far can they go in the UEFA Champions League?
Wait a minute now. To go unbeaten again in England this year, this would be incredible. I don't think it can happen. To play Manchester United, that would be the 50th game. That might be the one. I don't think they're going to very far in the Champions League.
Keep those questions and comments coming in. espnsoccernet.com and look for the Press Pass link.
ESPN presents the best of Friday night fights. Prior to his 3 classics against Arturo Gatti, Mickey Ward was part of the 2001 Fight of the Year. Don't miss this 12-round classic battle between Ward and Emmanuel Augustus, Friday on ESPN.
To Green Bay for what will be a pretty critical early season game for each of these teams. Tennessee and Green Bay both reeling at the outset. We said before we think Favre will be ready to play. That's what we're hearing from Green Bay. We think McNair will be ready to play is what we're hearing from Tennessee. B.J. Sams from the 8-yard line. And the rookie gives them a little spark as he takes it up to the 48-yard line. The Baltimore Ravens got here in '96 coming from Cleveland, and that's, in terms of time, the longest touchdown drive against the Ravens since their first year in this city. 8 minutes, 8 seconds, and a very well-balanced drive and a beautiful drive as they work on, as we saw Lewis on that last series, his cut man in his corner working on him.
That's Lou Duva, I think.
Lou would just spit on it. From the 48-yard line on first down. 3-yard gain for Lewis across the 50. Here's Michelle.
Well, Scott Fujita, the outside linebacker for Kansas City, has a sprained right ankle. His return is questionable. This defense struggling already, as we know, Al, for Kansas City. And Fujita, widely considered one of the best players on that defense, questionable for the rest of the game.
It looks like Kawika Mitchell will be the guy who will come in to replace him. They have Monty Beisel in the middle. Mitchell will move to the outside. It's 2nd down and 7. from the 49-yard line. And here's Lewis cutting it back. And taking the ball inside the 45, a couple of yards shy, about a yard and a half shy of the first down.
You know, watch the way Jamal Lewis runs. He runs normal until he gets the ball. Then once he gets the ball, he shortens his stride. Anytime that he's in the line of scrimmage, around the line of scrimmage, he just takes short, choppy steps. And then when he gets past that second level, which he doesn't do here, he opens up again. See those short, choppy steps. So he always has his feet in the ground. So therefore, he always has his power and the 245 pounds behind it.
5'11", 245, third down and 2. And that pass is knocked up into the air and incomplete. Eric Hicks batted it. So with 2:14 to go, in comes the punting group for the Baltimore Ravens.
You know, and you say this Kansas City defense isn't very good. They're playing well tonight. I mean, that's a third 3 and out. And you know this Baltimore defense has been on the field for a long time, and then when Kansas City's defense gets out there, they have stopped them on the last 3 drives.
Well, Kansas City at this point, John, have run 35 plays, and the Ravens have run 17. As there's an injury timeout here for Ryan Sims. So more than twice as many plays run by Kansas City. Of course, they had that 8-minute, 8-second drive. And they've held the ball for almost 20 minutes to 8 for the Ravens.
You see how Sims got hurt? That ball was tipped up in the air, and he was the guy that goes diving for it and kind of does a belly flop. Watch him right here. Here he is right here. I mean, that's just a flop on the ground. That's what happens when a defensive tackle goes for a ball, and they usually don't get the ball.
Yeah.
That was a belly flop.
And you can see he grabs his left hamstring as well.
Well, that was just when he exerted to get there, to get that burst to get to the ball. You can see the way he's upset that he probably did pull a hamstring. Defensive tackles usually don't make that move in a game, diving for a ball.
So Dante Hall is back to receive the punt. Dave Zastadil will put it up into the clear night air. And high enough so that Hall has to let it go. There's a flag that's thrown as the ball bounds into the end zone. There's also a fight back at the 40-yard line. Or a wrestling match anyway.
Well, there's no flag there at the fight end or wrestling match. There's only one flag, and that was the one down in the end zone. Or down by the end zone on the 20-yard line. There's old Jeff Triplett, huh, the referee?
Well, he and Orlando Brown have made acquaintances before. We can detail that a little bit later when Brown was with the Cleveland Browns.
Holding number 44 on the return team. It's a 10-yard penalty. First down.
Remember Orlando Brown, you can see, it's funny, well, almost on cue, he was the guy who was playing offensive tackle for Cleveland. Jeff Triplett called a penalty in '99. Flag, and it's weighted with BBs. Hits Brown in the eye. Well, here was the play. I mean, you can take a look at it. Here's Orlando Brown. And here's what happened. Watch the right tackle. Flag was called. Triplett unintentionally threw it. Brown knocked Triplett to the ground. Brown didn't play football for 3 years, sued the league. They reached a settlement, and then when he was able to come back and play, he gave some of the money back. Here's Holmes. And Holmes gets wrapped up by Adalis Thomas. Forward progress might be out to the 6, and that's it as we come to the 2-minute warning in Baltimore. Kansas City backed up, but leading in a game they have to win. 17-10 at the 2-minute warning.
Hello, there. It seems that FIFA finally gotten the World Club Championship to a point where they can ensure that it can be played. Remember in 2000 it was played in Brazil with no competition since that time anywhere. Now comes the announcement that the new World Club Championship will be played in Japan in 2005 and 2006. That's fine with me, as it replaces the Intercontinental Cup, which Japan has hosted since 1980. So fair enough, give them the first 2 shots at the new cup. I am against any country becoming a permanent home for the World Club Championships. I say it should be rotated to countries who never get a chance to host a big tournament. Use this competition to build up football in certain areas. It can also be used to say thank you to fans in countries who have shown so much support for the world game. In other words, give everybody a chance to enjoy the World Club Championships. What do you think? That's what's today along your bag this week. And I'm Tommy Smith with a Y.
We head to the links for the '84 Lumber Classic, where PGA star Vijay Singh continued a record-breaking year. Singh held off Stuart Sink by 1 stroke, featuring a final round 69, finishing 15 under par. His 8th victory of the year surpasses Tiger Woods for the all-time single-season money title. ESPN celebrates Vijay Singh, our Athlete of the Week.
World Cup qualifying will figure prominently on the next edition of ESPN SoccerNet Press Pass, with pride of place, of course, going to Nigeria's World Cup qualifying campaign. That's all coming up on Friday, right here on ESPN.
Stay tuned at halftime for the NFL Halftime Report. We kick it off with SportsCenter in-game. Could there be an NFL-style takeover of Manchester United? Also some NBA news. Brett Favre appears to be okay. Also, Major League Baseball postseason begins this week.
Million viewers and 10,000 critics with everything you do. So we had mixed reviews last week. We looked at this thing in our production meeting this morning, and I'll tell you what, there are about 4 or 5 laugh out loud funny moments in this thing.
I think this is a laugh out louder.
This is pretty good.
They get Gary Baxter.
Yeah. Second and 13. Here's Priest Holmes taking it up to the 9-yard line, so 3rd and long. And the Baltimore Ravens will now take a timeout to conserve the clock here. 1:53. And they still have...
Join ESPN for another rendition of NFL Seminole as hosts Alvaro Martin and Raul Alegre bring you all the latest news and highlights from the weekend's NFL action. Every Thursday, it's NFL Seminole right here on ESPN. We're going to wrap up week 4 and give you a great look ahead towards what's coming up in week 5. Now we get back to Kansas City at Baltimore.
Joey Abenda at the controls. Drew Esikoff, Fred Godelli, the Brain Trust. Come on, Freddie. Looks like you're in the game. Get into, hunker down. That a baby.
Oh, hunker down more. Lower. Bend your knees. Head up. Drive.
3rd down and 12. 8-yard line. Holmes and Priest. Ooh, he's close to picking up the first. He's finally forced out of bounds. He worked off a Tony Richardson block. And Lewis is mic'd up again.
Nothing. All we got to do, don't worry about making a play. Beat your man and trust the defense. Oh, it's on. It's on, big boy. It's on. Come on. Will, I live for this, Will. I live for this.
Well, right now he's going to stay on the field because Priest Holmes got just enough for the first down. Priest Holmes took it right to the 20-yard line. 12 yards on a 3rd and 12, and the nose of the ball is on the chalk, and that's enough for the first down.
I'll say this, in this first half, this Kansas City offensive line, that front group, has whipped the Raven defensive front group. So Ray Lewis is talking to Will Shields. Come on, bring it on. Will Shields and him have been bringing it on. In fact, Will Shields said, you get back over on your side of the line of scrimmage.
Meanwhile, Priest Holmes has carried the ball 20 times in the first half. 20, which was his average for a full game last season. When you've got a guy carrying the ball 20 times in a half, meanwhile they're looking at it upstairs. This is not challengeable. We're inside the final 2 minutes of the half, but they can look at the spot. So here's Holmes. The question is, they spotted the ball right on the 20. And where is he out of bounds?
And remember, it's where the ball is when his foot goes out of bounds. So it's all about the ball. And it's where the ball is. His foot is on the line. The ball is here. That's where it should be spotted. When his foot hits the line where the football is, you spot it right where the ball is.
Looks like about the 19 and a half. You can see he had the presence of mind to move it to his left hand to try to keep it in bounds as long and as far as he could. But I would suspect they've got to move it back inside the 20, because if the nose of the ball is not on the chalk at the 20-yard line, it's going to be a punting situation.
Right, and you can see right there that his foot is on the line and the ball is not.
So if they get it back, if the Ravens get it back, they'll get it back with one timeout.
After reviewing the play, the runner's foot hit out of bounds prior to making the line to gain at the 19-yard line, and the ball was at the 19. Therefore, it will be fourth down at the 19.
That was a good challenge by Brian Billick.
Well, remember, that was upstairs. That was the official.
That's right. That was a good challenge by upstairs.
Upstairs.
That was a good review by upstairs.
Very good
That's what I thought. I mean, that was what it looked like. He had the first down, and then someone saw that, he was just short. Good review, guys.
Had the Chiefs known, they would have raced to the line of scrimmage and tried to get the play off, but they didn't even know they had the first down until Triplett moved the ball out to the 20-yard line. So it's fourth down now. In to punt is Jason Baker, who's liable to do anything. This is a short end-over-end kick, 43-yard line. B.J. Sands. And this kid is electrifying this crowd tonight. And B.J. Sands with one man to beat and beats him for the touchdown. 58 yards.
Now that review just gets bigger and bigger, doesn't it?
Huge. The Ravens have found a pretty terrific run back guide. This kid looked good in preseason. He had a 63-yard punt return earlier this season. He averaged 18 yards per kickoff return coming into the game. And Matt Stover has just tied it. So two big plays. One, the pass from Bowler after he given it to Jamal Lewis, and that resulted in a touchdown. And now Sams with a 58-yard run back a la Dante Hall.
Well, first of all, it's a short kick because he catches the ball and the closest Chief to him is 10 yards away. So anytime that the first line is 10 yards away when you catch a ball, you have a good opportunity for a return. Not necessarily for a return all the way. You see him there? Watch. Here's where he catches it, and look at the line of Chiefs there. So he has that much room to make moves and to set up the side. He takes him to the right side, gets the Chiefs coming over to that side, then goes back to the left against the grain. That was poor coverage. I mean, that was a great return, but that is poor coverage.
Set up by this play right here. They were right. He clearly didn't get to the 20-yard line. And B.J. Sams in a matchup where last year Dante Hall made the difference. And Sams is able to run it all the way back for the touchdown. That is the first punt return for a touchdown in the National Football League this season. That's pretty amazing. We've already had 4 weeks of play.
And that's how you always tell that a punt is too short and not high enough, when you check when the guy catches the ball where the first line is.
90 seconds to play now in the first half, and the kick is downed in the end zone by Dante Hall. Even Dante's not going to come out with that after looking at his opposite number.
You're always talking about playmakers making plays and changing momentum. That was a playmaker changing momentum right there.
Because when you look at the numbers, I mean, Kansas City's run 38 plays. Baltimore's run only 17. Kansas City has outgained Baltimore about 2-1. Time of possession about 2-1, but those two huge plays. The Bowler pass, the Sam's run back.
Kansas City's offense had this defense on the ropes.
And Holmes is taken down. Baltimore has the only timeout left in this half if they so choose here. I think they're going to let them run a play on second down and see what happens after that. Second down and 11 from the 19-yard line. Green, wobbly pass caught. Chris Horn. It's going to be third down and 5. And the Ravens could take a timeout here, but choose not to.
I always think it's worth a shot, because you have the third down. If they don't make it, they're going to have to punt. You could go for a punt block, but Ryan Billick decides, it's 17-17. We're in pretty good shape here. Let's not do anything stupid.
Yeah, we've been backed up most of the half, but here we are in a tie game. Chiefs run the play clock down as far as they can on third down and 5. Keep it on the ground, give it to Holmes to the 28-yard line, and now they'll take a timeout because this means if the kick doesn't go out of bounds, Sam's is going to have another chance at a run back.
There is one rule in football that I've always been looking for. As a coach, I always wanted to do it, that you get a free kick after a fair catch. Now, I think you'd have to have them backed up more to do this. But if you take a fair catch, if the Ravens were to fair catch the ball, they could get a free kick from that position, where your kicker could just kick the ball without any rush or anything, and if you make it, it's a field goal.
And a lot of times, if you watch kickers and they have no pressure, I mean, in practice, they'll kick them 60 to 65 yards, which means if you just put it down at like your own 45. It's a 65-yarder. I mean, it's not a gimme, but at least you have nobody rushing you, and you can run up as if you're kicking off, not as if you're place kicking.
That's what you do.
And try to put it through the uprights.
Yeah. So if there's any kind of short kick here, it would be a possibility. Nope.
Deep, but it's going to set up a run back. That man Sam's again. To the 31-yard line with 2 ticks remaining. So one more play, and they'll go to the locker room. Ravens trying to go 3-1, trying to stay on top in the AFC North with the Steelers, who are also 3-1 right now. For Kansas City, well, you know the story. No wins, 3 losses, bye week coming up. Chiefs, if the Chiefs lose tonight, they will already by the 4th night of October lost more games than they lost all last season.
But just watching this Kansas City Chief team in this first half, they don't look like an 0-3 team. They didn't play in any area like an 0-3 team.
Not at all. But they're really in a fight. They're in a dogfight. Halftime. Kansas City 17, Baltimore 17. Coming up next, the halftime show, when we come back after this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC stations.
Hello there from Derek Ray and Tommy Smith here in the ESPN SoccerNet Press Pass studio. We always enjoy dipping into the mailbag. Remember the website, espnsoccernet.com, and look for the Press Pass link. And our first question this week comes from Tharaka in Australia. Here it is, Tommy. Will Real Madrid win the Champions League, and do they need a new coach?
Well, I certainly feel that Real Madrid are back on the right path. Maybe not fully back, but I think they have a good shot at winning the Champions League. I don't think there's anything wrong with the coach to just get rid of one.
OK, let's move on to question 2. This one comes from Simeone in Zambia. Do you think that Arsenal will go unbeaten this season in the Premiership? And how far can they go in the UEFA Champions League?
Wait a minute now. To go unbeaten again in England this year, this would be incredible. I don't think it can happen. To play Manchester United, that would be the 50th game. That might be the one. I don't think they're going to very far in the Champions League.
Keep those questions and comments coming in. espnsoccernet.com, and look for the Press Pass link.
I'm 2-time U.S. Nationals champ Larry Dixon, and this is another U.S. Nationals memory. 1974, Oklahoma City TV repairman turned racer Marvin Graham was unknown to everyone but the most hardcore fans. Graham seemed to come out of nowhere in a rain delay event run on Tuesday morning. and that day a TV repairman became the 1974 U.S. Nationals champion. I'm Larry Dixon, and it happened at the U.S. Nationals in 1974.
No equipment needed. Only your hands and your heart. And according to the outcome, you will live 3 minutes of hell. Or 3 minutes of glory. Friday Night Fights on ESPN.
This is SportsCenter in game. Manchester United said Monday it has received a preliminary approach regarding a possible offer to buy out the English soccer club. Many speculate the approach came from Tampa Bay Buccaneers owner Malcolm Glazer. Manchester United, however, did not say who it was approached by and said it was still unsure if any formal offer would be made. Glazer has steadily increased his share of the team over the last 2 years, and now the second largest stakeholder in the team, holding a 19.2% stake. Manchester United fans groups who hold individual shares in the club strongly oppose any takeover by Glazer. Gary Payton finally joined the Boston Celtics on Monday for a media day and the start of training camp, despite his agent's doubts that he would show. The Celtics have had little contact with Gary Payton this offseason since their August 6th deal with the Lakers. According to a league source, Payton reached his decision after more than a month of painful deliberation that sent him to the Celtics in trade along with the rights to Rick Fox, who has since retired. Scottie Pippen, 17-year veteran who, along with Michael Jordan, led the Bulls to 6 NBA championships, expected to announce his retirement tomorrow. Injuries limited the 39-year-old to playing just 23 games last season. Pippen has 1 year worth $5 million left on a 2-year deal he signed last year. The Bulls plan to retire his jersey this season at a time to be announced. Green Bay Packers starting quarterback Brett Favre is okay, according to head coach Mike Sherman. Favre suffered a concussion Sunday against the Giants and would most likely be held out of Wednesday's practice. Sherman added that Favre was checked out by doctors who felt confident the quarterback was okay. Favre was hurt in the third quarter of the Packers' 14-7 loss to New York, but came back after 2 plays to throw a TD pass. This extended his streak to 29 straight games in which he's thrown at least 1 touchdown pass. Seattle Mariners fired manager Bob Melvin after 2 seasons Monday, 1 day after the team lost its 99th game. He led the team to a 93-69 record in 2003, his first season, and the Mariners left spring training hoping to contend for a playoff spot this year. Instead, they finished 63-99. It was the team's worst season since 1992. The opening day of Major League Baseball playoffs begin Tuesday with the American League Division Series. Cy Young candidate Johan Santana of the Minnesota Twins goes against Mike Mussina at Yankee Stadium. Santana led the AL with an ERA of 2.61 and a 20-6 record. Santana's main Cy Young competition, Curt Schilling of the Boston Red Sox, will go against Jared Washburn of the Anaheim Angels. Schilling at 203 regular season strikeouts on his way to a Major League high 21 wins. Don't miss live coverage of Boston versus Anaheim Tuesday on ESPN. And don't miss your next edition of SportsCenter. Check your local listings in your area of the world.
Because Bionic is a better defensive second baseman.
Oh, another nice play by Bionic.
Klesko, the pitch to Gonzalez, hit in the air to right center. Finley on his horse, dives, makes an incredible catch. And Klesko is back to second.
I think it's pretty old. Not pitching like he's old, though. And not hitting like it is long. Long run, Magruder with a diving play. Taking away a base hit from Randy Johnson. Driven into left field. Jenkins, long run into the gap. He goes, and he slides, holds on to that baseball tonight. So 3 back. Shot, leaping, making the play, Shea Hillenbrand. Speaking of the Red Sox.
for the thrills and spills of motorsports all season long is ESPN.
ESPN presents the best of Friday Night Fights. Prior to his 3 classics against Arturo Gatti, Mickey Ward was part of the 2001 Fight of the Year. Don't miss this 12-round classic battle between Ward and Emmanuel Augustus, Friday on ESPN.
World Cup qualifying will figure prominently on the next edition of ESPN SoccerNet Press Pass, with pride of place, of course, going to Nigeria's World Cup qualifying campaign. That's all coming up on Friday, right here on ESPN.
Welcome back to the NFL Halftime Report for Monday Night Football on ESPN. Mark Brown with you now from our ESPN studios. A thrilling first half so far. The Chiefs and Ravens all tied up at 17 apiece in Baltimore. On the very first possession of the game, Jamal Lewis taking the pitch, getting a first down and more, barreling his way for 18 yards. Moving the sticks, that would lead to Matt Stover, a 50-yard field goal, and Baltimore was on the board with a 3-0 lead. Kansas City coming right back. Trent Green over the middle of Jason Dunn. Nice stiff arm there, finishing the run, the play strong. 17 yards and a first down. Then on a 3rd down, Trent Green finds Dunn for the 3-yard touchdown. Kansas City goes on top 7-3. Then Green finds Tony Gonzalez, his favorite target, barreling forward near a first down. Drive would eventually stall at the 24. Lawrence Tynes, a 42-yard field goal. Kansas City took a 10-3 lead into the second quarter. Baltimore, though, the pitch to Jamal Lewis. Flea flicker back to Bowler. Wide open Randy Hines, who dives into the end zone. 57 yards on the scoring play. And the game was tied at 10 apiece. Kansas City looking to come right back. Green looking for Gonzalez. Has to step up and throw sidearm. Breaks one tackle, does Gonzo, and gets the first down. 18 yards on the play. Later on that drive from the 17-yard line. 3rd down, the play breaks down. Look at this. Green, not known for his running ability, scrambles, gets the first down, lowers the shoulder, and gets it down inside the 5-yard line. On the very next play, Priest Holmes sweeps, turns it upfield, 4-yard touchdown run. Kansas City had the 17-10 lead. Later on, Kansas City punting from deep in its own territory. B.J. Sams, all kinds of running room. Avoids tacklers at midfield and then breaks it to the left and will sprint in for the 58-yard punt return for the touchdown. That ties it at 17. That was with a minute and a half to play in the second quarter. 17 all is the score. Let's do the quarterback comparison. Well, it really isn't much of a comparison. Green, 10 of 15 for 107 yards. Bowler's only thrown 7 times, completed just 3 of them, but for 74 yards. He does have the 1 touchdown strike. The big strike, of course, was that flea flicker to Randy Hines on the 57-yard touchdown pass. 17 all in Baltimore as we head for the start of the 3rd quarter. You're watching Monday Night Football on ESPN.
Catch all the exciting, hard-hitting action of NFL American football all season long on ESPN.
Night football on ESPN. The Chiefs and the Ravens in a big battle, and the Chiefs really a battle for their season right now. They are 0-3 coming into this matchup. The Ravens are 2-1, having won their last 2 games, so pretty much do or die for Kansas City in this ball game tonight. The Ravens giving them all they can handle. Well, the American League Division Series gets going tomorrow. The Boston Red Sox and the Anaheim Angels will go head-to-head. Hey, anybody remember 1986? Well, that was a classic series that sent the Red Sox to the World Series in the American League Championship Series. Now, the divisional series, the Sox and the Angels. Vlad Guerrero looks to power Anaheim into the next round, game 1. Check the time in your area. of the world. M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, the home of the Ravens, and all the rabid Ravens fans are loving what they've seen so far. They've got a punt return for a touchdown. They have got a flea flicker 57-yard pass for a touchdown. All the offense you can imagine. Of course, the Kansas City defense struggling, not giving up the big play. 17 apiece as we look at the yards, and really a 2-to-1 margin as far as the yards that Kansas City has been able to roll up, and a 21-minute to 8-minute advantage in time of possession. But it's the big plays that have the Ravens in it. The bowler 57-yard strike to Randy Himes off the flea flicker, and of course just before the half, B.J. Sams, that 58-yard punt return for a touchdown. So there haven't been many great plays for Baltimore tonight, but the two have turned directly into 14 points. As a result, they remain neck and neck right now with a desperate Kansas City Chiefs team. Priest Holmes with 77 yards on the ground. He's already carried it 22 times on the night. Getting ready to start the third quarter out in Baltimore. We'll get you back to Al Michaels, John Madden, and Michelle Tafoya.
Anniversary season of Monday Night Football, and a good one here. 17-17 at the half, and Kansas City gets the ball first. Dante Hall had 2 touchdown returns in his first 3 games last year, and won't have a chance to bring this one back as Kansas City will take over at the 20-yard line. Michelle's been busy, and here she is.
I spoke with Dick Vermeil, Al, going into halftime, and he said he's happy with his defense. Where he's not happy with his offense is their poise. He said too many penalties, no excuses. Yes, noise has been a problem, but we need to keep our poise. As for Brian Billick, he is not really happy with his offense either. He said if it weren't for the couple of trick plays we converted, our offense just hasn't been playing. We better get our act together, or you're just going to see more of the same. Al, John?
Precisely, that trick play. The pass for the touchdown, and then the Sams, not that that falls into the category of trick play, but Sams running back a punt for a touchdown, and that's kept them in the game. And Green initially escapes a sack and then finally goes down a 3-yard sack. Anthony Weaver will get the credit for it. Number 98 who comes in to clean up at the end.
Yeah, it looks like Kelly Gray came straight up the middle. He should be the nose tackle right here, and he's going to get the initial pressure. See, he starts to the outside, then he comes back inside of Wigman, and he's the first guy there that collapses the pile. And it was like a jailbreak, and Trent Green felt that pressure coming up the middle and knew that he had to get out of there to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Now on 2nd and 13, Priest Holmes had a busy first half. Picks up a hard 2 yards here. Priest Holmes has carried the ball now 23 times. First half numbers, and we were talking about it at the end of the half. Time of possession well in favor of Kansas City. I mean, they had the ball most of the time, but those 2 big plays for the Ravens, the difference in that Kansas City doesn't have the lead, and we're tied, and now it's 3rd down and long for Kansas City here.
You know, the Ravens had that first drive, then after that they only had 10 offensive plays, but 14 points.
This is Kansas City's 44th play. A near sack. Green stepping up, stepping away, throws and converts for a first down as Chris Horn makes the catch and takes it up to the 36-yard line. You know, we had that little thing with Trent Green before about what am I? A word to describe me? Persistent, isn't he?
I know. Kia Moitu comes right up the middle. He's going to push Wigman right back, but it's only a 3-man rush. You see the pressure right here. They don't give Wigman any help, so he gets pushed right back into Trent Green. They took both guards and sent them out to help the tackles, but then Trent Green found that hole between the nose tackle and the ends getting up the field.
16-yard gain now, a quick pass outside to Johnny Morton, the longtime Lion.